The rescue ship cut through space toward the Separatist cruiser. Anakin piloted boldly while Obi-Wan gripped the seat firmly. Chancellor Palpatine was in danger, hostage of General Grievous. R2, D2 beeped nervously, detecting threats around them. They managed to land after risky maneuvers that made Obi-Wan sigh. The Jedi jumped out with lightsabers ignited, cutting through droids along the way. They crossed corridors following the coordinates to the main chamber. The doors opened, revealing the hall where Dooku awaited them. Above, Palpatine was tied unconscious in a chair. "Welcome, young Jedi," Dooku said, spinning his curved saber. Anakin felt rage remembering Geonosis when he lost his arm. Obi-Wan perceived the danger and warned about patience. It was then that a bluish light manifested between them. The form of Qui-Gon Jinn materialized before everyone. Obi-Wan whispered, emotionally recognizing his master. Anakin stepped back confused, while even Dooku seemed disconcerted. The spirit floated between the combatants, filling the hall. Qui-Gon turned to Anakin with penetrating eyes full of urgency. "Don't do it, Master," the voice echoed, laden with warning. Anakin looked at the apparition, completely lost about the meaning. Dooku regained his composure, mocking the dramatic appearance. But Qui-Gon kept his focus on Anakin, warning about choices. Obi-Wan asked about saving the Chancellor, and the ghost advised wisdom. "True strength lies in knowing when to spare," he said, before fading. The hall fell silent, processing what had occurred. Dooku mocked, saying that words wouldn't save them. He assumed combat position with his saber tracing threatening patterns. Anakin tightened his grip on his saber while Obi-Wan positioned himself alongside. The battle exploded with Dooku using all his experience, but Anakin was stronger now, coordinating attacks with Obi-Wan. Dooku threw Obi-Wan against a column, leaving him dazed. Anakin was alone, but this time it was different. He attacked with brutal speed, pushing the Count backward. With quick movements, he cut off Dooku's hands. The red saber fell along with the severed hands. Dooku screamed, falling to his knees while Anakin raised his blade. Palpatine awakened, shouting to kill the Count immediately. "Kill him now!" The voice was convincing and persuasive. Anakin felt weight in that moment, with rage pulsing. But then he remembered Qui-Gon's apparition and his words. The serene face saying not to do that. Anakin hesitated, with his saber trembling over Dooku. "No," he finally said, deactivating the blade. "He will stand trial." Palpatine showed irritation before recomposing his mask. Dooku looked surprised, unable to comprehend the mercy. Obi-Wan recovered, observing with renewed pride. The choice was made, and Qui-Gon had fulfilled his mission. Dooku was taken to the most secure prisons of Coruscant. His hands were replaced by basic metallic prosthetics. He remained in an isolated cell, guarded by elite clones and multiple force fields. The Republic celebrated his capture as a great victory, but Dooku himself felt only a growing emptiness. He had dedicated years to Darth Sidious's plan, believing he was building a better order for the galaxy, but now, imprisoned, he began to question everything. The Jedi had shown mercy when he didn't expect it. Anakin Skywalker, of all Jedi, had chosen to spare him. This disturbed him deeply, as it contradicted everything Sidious had taught about the weakness of the Jedi. Master Windu visited his cell a few times, trying to extract information about the Sith and the Separatists, but Dooku remained silent, struggling with his own internal demons. The war continued outside, even without his direct leadership, and this also bothered him. It was during a particularly somber night that the apparition happened. Dooku meditated in his cell, something he hadn't done in years, when he felt a familiar presence in the Force. The bluish light manifested, and there was Qui-Gon Jinn, his former master, observing him with that expression of sadness and understanding he knew so well. "You," Dooku whispered, his voice hoarse from disuse. "That you came to me shouldn't surprise me." Qui-Gon floated closer, passing through the force field as if it didn't exist. "Dooku, my old friend. How far you have fallen." The words weren't accusatory, but full of genuine sadness. Dooku looked away, unable to face those eyes that knew him so well. "I did what was necessary." The Jedi were stagnant, trapped in ancient dogmas. Qui-Gon shook his head slowly. "And yet, you simply traded one set of chains for another. You didn't seek freedom, Dooku. You sought power, and now you see where it has led you." "What do you know?" Dooku responded with bitterness. "You died before seeing how the Order became corrupted, how the Republic rotted from within." But his voice lacked its former conviction. Qui-Gon sat in lotus position, floating slightly above the cold floor of the cell. "I know more than you imagine. I see through the Force how all things connect. And I see the truth you refuse to see." Dooku finally looked at his former master, and for the first time in decades, tears threatened to fall from his eyes. "What truth?" Qui-Gon leaned forward, his presence filling the cell with a comforting energy that Dooku had forgotten existed. "That you were used, my friend. Sidious never intended to share power with you. You were disposable, a tool to be thrown away as soon as you served your purpose." The words hit Dooku like a physical blow. He knew the nature of the Sith, the rule of two, but had always believed he was different, that he was special. "Anakin Skywalker," Qui-Gon continued, "is who Sidious truly desires as an apprentice. You sense this, don't you? The way the Chancellor looks at young Skywalker, how he manipulates his emotions." Dooku closed his eyes, memories and conversations he had ignored returning with painful clarity. All the time Sidious had mentioned the Chosen One, all the specific instructions about how to deal with Anakin. Everything made sense now. "I was a fool," he admitted, his voice breaking. "But what can I do now? I am imprisoned, mutilated, defeated." Qui-Gon smiled sadly. "There is still time to choose the right path, Dooku. The Force offers redemption to those who genuinely seek it. But you must be willing to sacrifice everything, including your pride." The apparition began to fade, but before disappearing completely, Qui-Gon left one last message. "When the moment comes, you will know what to do. Trust in the Force, as you once did." Dooku was alone again, but something had changed within him. The following days were tumultuous in Coruscant. The war reached the gates of the capital. Grievous was killed in Utapau by Obi-Wan, and tensions grew in the Jedi Temple. Dooku, from his cell, felt the waves in the Force, sensing that something terrible was about to happen. Anakin Skywalker ran through the corridors of the Senate building, his heart beating irregularly. Master Windu had gone to confront Chancellor Palpatine, finally revealed as the Sith Lord Darth Sidious they had been seeking for years. But Anakin was divided between his loyalty to the Jedi and the promises Palpatine had made about saving Padme from the death he saw in his visions. His decisions in the last hours had led him down a dark path, revealing Palpatine's betrayal to the Jedi Council. But now he regretted it, desperate for any chance to save his wife. He burst into the Chancellor's office to find a scene of destruction. 3 Jedi Masters dead on the floor, and Mace Windu pressing Palpatine against the window, his purple saber raised for the final blow. The Chancellor's face was deformed, his true nature finally revealed, Force lightning ricocheting from Windu's hands back at him. "Anakin! Help me!" Palpatine screamed, his voice pathetic and desperate. Anakin froze, seeing the monster the leader of the Republic had become. Meanwhile, in the depths of the maximum security prison, Dooku felt the disturbance in the Force with crystal clarity. The moment Qui-Gon had mentioned had arrived. He closed his eyes, reaching into the Force in a way he hadn't for decades, not as a weapon or tool, but as a guide. The clone guards outside his cell suddenly stopped, their eyes glazed. "Open the cell," Dooku commanded softly. his voice laden with the ancient power of Jedi mental manipulation. The clones obeyed without hesitation, deactivating the force fields. Dooku left his prison, moving with renewed purpose through the corridors. In Palpatine's office, the tension reached its breaking point. "He is too dangerous to be kept alive," Windu declared, preparing to execute the Sith Lord. Palpatine looked at Anakin with his yellowed eyes. "Anakin, you must choose. Don't let them kill me. I can save Padme. I am her only hope." Anakin extended his hand, divided between two impossible futures. For a brief moment, he saw the face of Qui-Gon Jinn in his mind, that apparition on the ship days ago, that look of warning when he was about to kill Dooku. But fear was stronger. "He needs to stand trial," Anakin shouted, taking a step forward. Windu turned briefly. "He controls the Senate and the courts. He is too dangerous." It was at that exact moment that the office doors exploded. Dooku entered like a hurricane, using the Force to take Anakin's blue saber. Everyone stopped, shocked by his appearance. "Impossible!" Palpatine hissed, genuine fear crossing his face for the first time. Dooku didn't respond, only moved with surprising speed, placing himself between Anakin and Palpatine. "You used me," Dooku said, his voice laden with years of repressed rage. "You promised me power, a new order, but I was just a disposable piece in your game." Palpatine tried to stand, lightning sprouting from his hands toward Dooku. But the former Count was stronger than he appeared, years of Jedi training returning to his muscle memory. He deflected the lightning, pushing Palpatine back. Windu watched, too surprised to intervene immediately. Anakin was paralyzed, processing the impossible scene before him. "You wanted Anakin as your new apprentice," Dooku continued, advancing. The words hit Anakin like a shock of cold reality. Palpatine launched a final lightning attack. Dooku and Windu, in perfect synchrony, directed their blades. The blue saber and the purple one found their targets simultaneously, piercing the Sith Lord's body. Darth Sidious, who had orchestrated the fall of the Republic and the Jedi, fell dead. Silence filled the destroyed office. Dooku staggered, letting Anakin's saber fall from his metallic hands. He looked at Windu, then at Anakin. "I don't expect forgiveness," he said calmly. "My crimes are countless, but I hope to have prevented a greater tragedy today." Windu deactivated his saber, processing everything that had happened. "You chose the light in the end, Dooku. That counts for something." Anakin finally moved, picking up his saber from the floor. He looked at Dooku, the man who had mutilated him, but who now had saved everything he loved by preventing him from making an irreversible mistake. "Thank you," Anakin whispered. "You saved more than just the Jedi today. You saved me." Dooku smiled sadly. Then perhaps Qui-Gon was right. Perhaps there is still hope for men like me. He turned to the window, looking at Coruscant under the night sky. The war would end soon. The Separatists without leadership would fall quickly. And he, Dooku, would face trial for his crimes. But for the first time in decades, he felt peace. In the Jedi Temple, Master Yoda opened his eyes abruptly, a smile crossing his ancient face. "Fulfilled. Your mission was, Qui-Gon. Saved. The galaxy is balanced. The Force remains."